Hey, welcome to the Dreffin Stone podcast, a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, because like the last couple, been
You never know.
been a little iffy.
I don't even know if it's iffy. I just think you're adding in more flavor.
Changing things up.
You don't want it to get stale.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You want to.
You've been doing a good job.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I've been purposely innovating.
I like it.
Yeah. How are things going, man?
So good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything new?
Nope. Just chugging along.
Yeah.
Living life.
Yeah. Is that a good thing, or is that like this is the status quo?
No, I mean we've had like events. Like we've thrown a couple of parties recently. We had a good friend we threw a birthday party for. First time ever having a blow up slide in my backyard.
Wow. Ever? You got kids, man.
Yeah, but we never rented the whole slide thing. Like they always wanted to do. Like we did a lot of birthday parties at bowling alleys. We had pool parties.
Sure.
But we just never did the blow up slide thing.
Yeah.
Did that for a friend. He turned 45, so we got a blow up slide.
And you didn't invite me? Like, I'm disappointed.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. It was we didn't want it to get crazy.
You
So,
think I would have made it crazy?
guaranteed. Guaranteed.
For sure. So this was an adult blow up slide party.
It was not very many people.
Oh,
we kept it very low key. It was basically just his family, our family, and like two other work friends.
Gotcha.
But yeah, woke up the next day very dinged up,
I was
bruises.
gonna say sore.
Felt like I'd been working out.
Was this like a big slide?
Yeah,
Okay, good. Oh, I get to
Yeah,
see
it's
a
like-
picture.
tall as the fucking house.
Like a 45-degree angle and like a 14-foot drop. That looks fantastic. Now I'm really sad.
It was huge. It was big. We're gonna have one at Thanksgiving though.
It's a little. Well, I was gonna say it's a little cold. It's generally not.
Not in Florida.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we'll wait and see what it looks like, but that's the plan.
that's fun.
Have one at Thanksgiving.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, it was funny. Like the guy that we threw the party for, he had far more experience with these types of slides. He was like, "You gonna put dish soap on it?" I was like,
Oh yeah,
"He's like, no, yeah, no, you gotta lube them up. Like you gotta
put that Dawn everywhere. Yeah,
I was like, "Oh well."
you ain't never slip and slide
I
before.
don't know. I've slipped and slid,
You slipped and slid.
slipped and slid, but not as an adult. So I don't know. I guess in Alabama, like we had more hills, so gravity took more of an effect.
Yeah, no.
First time I went down, it stopped about halfway. And I was like,
And your whole
"Honey, where's that dish soap? Get it out here right now."
Your whole stomach like pink now.
So yeah, sure enough, like we soaped it up.
Yeah. The problem with the dish soap is though that like you get that in your eye and it's game over. So
Wow.
pro move, you use baby shampoo.
Oh, no tear.
Yeah, no tear. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
And it creates the same thing. And you get it in your eyes, you're fine.
I mean, we lathered that thing up real good. No, I don't think anybody had an issue that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But
Well, I've been in a situation.
it was a game changer.
where
we all smelled great.
Exactly. Where I've slipped and slid and then like had to rinse out my eyes. So
sure.
I've been in that situation. So just from experience, next time
Gotcha.
at Thanksgiving, baby shampoo.
Right.
Yeah, game changer.
Have
Just
a water
in case.
hose right there and flush it out.
You can get a drink and you flush your eyes out.
There you go.
Yeah. You want to drink something?
You know it.
Okay. Well, we've been gifted a bottle of something.
I love the gifts.
I know. This is something from the Denner Distillery in Clive, Iowa.
What kind of whiskey are you talking about here? Is this any kind of like a festive thing?
Oh, yes, sir. This is a whiskey that is heralding the month that we are currently in.
Epic.
Yeah,
So, let's
today,
see.
as when this comes out, we're at the beginning of the Octobers.
The second burr month.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So big event,
Yep.
end of the month,
What? Oh, Halloween.
Halloween.
Got it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a whiskey that celebrates that holiday.
You got a pumpkin whiskey? Like a jack-o'-lantern whiskey? Maybe it's like a Frankenstein themed bottle.
Very close.
It's gonna be candy themed.
Why are you playing coy? You can see what's right in front of us. This is the candy corn flavored whiskey.
Oh, buddy. No way this can miss.
Listen. So
I'm listening.
We reached out to our friends at the Denner Distillery.
Yep.
I saw this kind of floating around the interwebs and the social medias.
Sure.
We had a couple of listeners reach out on Twitter and say, "Hey, have you guys had this?" And our response was, "Nope." So we reached out to Joe at the Denner Distillery. He is the head distiller, and we reached out to him and said, "Hey, can we try that?"
Hey,
and
Joe.
he said, "Sure, I'll send you a bottle."
Some candy corn,
Yeah.
which is one of the 4 major food groups for an elf. So it also kind of ties into Christmas.
So it's both a Christmas and a Halloween drink.
Yeah.
Now, I will
Makes sense. You can buy it beginning of October, enjoy it all through the holidays.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, and I say this with some hesitancy, that we are generally not flavored whiskey fans.
Well documented.
Right.
Yeah.
But because a bunch of listeners reached out and they said, you guys need to try this. I've seen it all over social media. Reached out to Joe, see if we could try it. I figured we owe it to the people, Kyle, to try it.
Fantastic.
Plus, I love your reactions when we try things.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. I generally don't like candy corn anyway.
Oh, really?
So yeah, this will be great.
I feel even better about this. I'll say this. So we haven't even cracked this bottle yet at all.
Yeah.
But if there is a whiskey flavor that makes the most sense to me, it is actually candy corn. And here's why. Candy corn tends to be a honey note, and it tends to be a little vanilla forward. So to me, I mean, you're just dialing up those notes a little bit.
Sure.
Obviously, I've not had this,
Yep.
so I could be completely wrong.
Yep.
But I feel like it makes some sense in the general whiskey discussion, if you will. So why not?
Well, and to be honest, this was delivered to my house.
Yeah.
So it's been sitting on my shelf for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Sure.
And at these parties that we've had, that bottle has definitely gotten the most attention.
Really?
Of just people being like, "What is that like? Is that any good?" And I'm like, "I haven't opened it yet. I got to wait." But it's had a lot of attention.
Well,
people visiting the library.
and another thing too, like flavored whiskeys are having a day right now. I mean, they really are. Like, there's a bunch of different brands. There's a peanut butter flavored stuff. Like, people are getting into flavored whiskeys. I think it's an interesting bridging of the gap between like maybe more cocktail drinkers into whiskey drinkers.
Sure.
So I think it fits a market, and I think the market's there. So why not?
Give it a shot.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Okay. Delightful.
There you go. That was a good pop.
Candy corn. Legit pop.
Yeah, legit pop. So you do not like candy corn.
It's not anything that I would ever grab to eat.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
especially
fair enough.
I will say, like, I like candy pumpkins more, like
Sure.
the mellow cream pumpkins.
Yeah.
But like candy corn, it's not something I liked as a kid, but something that I like now.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to send us,
I think
candy
I've
corn,
had too many stale pieces because
Like,
they
hold
really
on.
do go stale.
And I feel like every piece of candy corn is stale right when it's made, though. Like that's what
I
candy
disagree.
corn. Okay.
Because I've bitten into some that were like rocks, and I've then there's the some that you bite into and they're just kind of like, oh,
Yeah, no, for sure.
soft
like
mush. you know?
Yeah, and it's the soft mush candy corn that's like the good ones.
Yeah.
You don't want candy corn in like January. You want that candy corn like early
March.
October.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's when it gets good.
You ready?
Got to have that age on it.
I'm gonna pour you a big glass.
Heavy-handed pours. By your description, I would assume that you're thinking they just added in vanilla and honey
Yeah.
flavoring.
Yeah, I don't think this is like we put a bunch of candy corn into a whiskey
Soaked some whiskey and some
no,
candy corn,
no.
drained it.
No, I don't. I mean, based on how clear this is,
I guess that would be
don't think-
infused.
Sure.
Candy corn infused.
I don't think that's
whiskey.
what's going on here. I asked a couple of questions of Joe, the distiller, and didn't get any clear answers. So my assumption is that they're just making it with maybe flavorings or whatever goes into these flavored whiskeys. I don't think it's infused.
Took mellow corn.
Mellow corn. They like sourced it from Heaven Hill.
Yeah, it's got some mellow corn.
Okay. Oh well. Okay. Now that I'm with you now, it took me a second.
Added in some extra candy.
I mean, color it's a little light. Now, to be fair, it is 70.
Yeah.
70 proof,
Yep.
35 ABV. So just a little bit on the low end.
But yeah, a little little lighter color than you'd expect from like a bourbon.
Sure. Here's what I expect. As I've already kind of mentioned, I expect heavy vanilla, heavy honey, tons of sweet.
Yeah. I have got it nowhere near my face.
Right.
But the overwhelming smell of honey is in the air.
Yes. Yeah. Have you had any of like the Jack Daniels, like Tennessee honey or anything like that?
Never.
Yeah, me neither.
Man, it is like, it's almost like, it's starting to lean pancakes now. But not like maple syrup, but just like pancake batter.
Yeah.
And it's still 2 feet from my face.
All right. I'm going to put my sniffer in.
All right.
Yeah. Pancake batter makes a lot of damn sense.
Man, vanilla icing.
Vanilla. Yeah. Like you
birthday cake.
Yeah. Like you popped open a can of vanilla icing.
Birthday cake, yeah.
What's
Straight up
the
birthday cake,
like
cupcakes.
funfetti?
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
it smells like fresh baked cupcakes.
It really does. That's not an off-putting nose.
With a fuck ton of vanilla icing on it.
Correct. Like I kind of expected it to be like a
Yeah, it's pleasant. Like, it'd make a great candle.
oh yeah, it
know?
really would.
It's a really nice nose.
Yeah, it's pleasant. It's a pleasant nose. It's not something that like I would never smell this and go like whiskey.
No.
I'd smell it and I
smells
go
like childhood.
yeah,
It does. It really does. Like, I can't get away from the cupcake.
No,
It smells like walking into a cupcake.
It smells like walking into a bakery. Like that like it's
Not
not
a bakery.
It's
specifically like a cupcake.
confectionery kind of bakery.
Bakery.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like a
Sprinkles.
exactly, or like a one of those high end cake shops.
Yeah.
Like wedding cake kind of things. It's that like the air is sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, it definitely, like, I can remember, being young, my mom making cupcakes, and you just can't wait to eat one. So you take one out of the tin, you put some icing on it, and the icing immediately starts to melt, and it gets all kind of gooey, and you bite into it, and the center's all warm.
Yep.
Like, that's this smell.
Absolutely.
All right. On 3.
On 3 for science.
1, 2.
Real quick, we're doing this for the listeners.
Yeah.
All right, do it again.
1, 2, 3. The word whiskey shouldn't be on the bottle.
No.
Because there's nothing puts forth whiskey.
I want to point out, no listener felt this pause because normally we cut these pauses out, but there was a good 45-second pause after this went into my mouth.
Yeah, I mean, it's not dissimilar from like putting a full scoop of icing in your mouth. But I'm also the type of person that, like, I way more enjoy the cake than the icing.
Yeah. This is icing.
It's one of those. It's like it's one of those cakes that you got too much icing on it, and you kind of like cut the icing and slide it off to the side.
Yeah.
So if you took that whole one bite of just icing and ate that,
it is very sweet.
yeah,
Really sweet.
does it taste like candy corn?
Slightly.
Okay. Well, certainly, I think, as we've said with other flavored whiskeys, that surely it's not meant to be drinking neat out of a Glencairn.
No, for sure not.
Couldn't possibly be the point of it.
No.
Perhaps just over ice would make it interesting, but I would imagine it's meant to like be as part of a cocktail.
Yeah, and to say that, like, honestly, of the flavored whiskeys that I've had, I actually think this makes a lot more sense than almost everything out there.
Sure.
Because like I'm unfortunately on the shelf we still have the Wicked Pickle, and there's also we've had the peanut butter stuff. Like I've had some like mango habanero whiskey, which isn't terrible, but like this makes sense because it's in that same flavor wheelhouse.
Right.
It's just taking those sweet notes and just like amping them up.
Yeah, and to be honest, like this one is not off-putting the way that those other ones have been.
Mm-mm.
Like I could totally like this isn't unpalatable. It's just super sweet.
It's just super sweet,
and it's certainly not meant to be drank neat.
Yeah.
You know, if you had the right concoction of a cocktail, I don't really know what you'd put with it, but But I
feel
can
like
totally see like garnish it with like a like a little candy corn
Yeah.
on top, and then make it like a fun Halloween drink.
I think this would make a good Manhattan. This might make a good old fashioned. You just don't have to add any syrup to it. You don't
So
have
then
to
what do you
add
do
any
to
sweet.
it? Just pour it over ice.
I think so. Yeah.
But like to me, like I don't know. That might do it.
I see what you mean. Sure.
I'm just trying to think of like, surely there's something more that you would do to it. Like maybe it's like a mudslide type thing.
Oh, okay.
Some ice cream,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
You add this in there with it. Throw some candy corn shavings on top. You can make a fun thing.
Well, I feel like it needs a
Candy corn sundae.
maybe a sour note or like a even a spicy note. I'm not saying like spicy like habanero spicy like a pepper spicy. Like I guess a habanero is a pepper. I mean like black pepper kind of spicy, like that kind of earthy note.
Right.
Because just to cut through just the intense sweet of this. None of the flavors in this are, like you said, off-putting. None of it makes me go like, ew, that's medicinal.
Right.
It's really, really sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some Drep and Stone listeners that are going to love this.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you are into like the the screwball, the peanut butter whiskey stuff, like this is not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. I would even, can I contend, like, I think it's better than that just because, again, these flavors I expect.
It's a lot, but it's not so much so that you're just like, ugh. Like you can slowly sip it and kind of, I mean, it's like literally like a drop at a time kind of thing. Like that's enough.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, maybe like just over ice would do it, but I still kind of feel like you'd want to do something to just kind of jazz it up to make it more interesting.
There needs like, it's very, yeah, you got that all over you.
It's really funny. Like if you spill whiskey on you or something like that, like rarely ever does whiskey or bourbon, like it doesn't ever get sticky.
Yeah.
Because it's so much alcohol. But this is like, it's like melted candy on
Yeah,
me. Like I'm
really,
sticking to everything now.
It's an experience. And I'm not just saying that like to pander to anybody, but I think like it's not bad. It's just,
There's nothing whiskey about it. Like there's
no.
at no point like I don't get anything that's like remotely similar to bourbon or, certainly not scotch or anything like that, but like I don't know. There's no rye. Like I don't know what it is. It's just sweet.
And it is just sweet. And I think that like you're right. It's made to make a cocktail out of.
Yeah.
It's made to do that, but again, in the pantheon of flavored stuff we've had, this is actually, I would say this is at the top just because it's not unpalatable.
There's a use for it. I mean, make a boozy milkshake or, I don't know what it is because I don't do a lot of those kinds of drinks.
Yeah, I asked a couple.
Mudslide's literally like the only thing I can come up with.
I asked a couple people about it, and just like again, an old fashioned, maybe a Manhattan.
What's a White Russian?
Vodka, Kahlua, over ice, basically.
I feel like Kahlua would dominate. I don't know. I was just trying to think of something like that. Like maybe it is just like with the Irish cream.
Oh, yeah.
Throw some of that in there
Sure.
with it, shaking over ice.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's worth a try, especially if you are someone who likes flavored whiskey.
Yeah, it's definitely. I wouldn't buy a whole bottle, but if you're somebody that's like into like the flavored things,
Yeah.
Like whipped cream vodka and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
This is not bad at all.
Yeah, I agree.
I would highly recommend that.
Yeah, I agree. Got a question for you.
Sure.
So was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about movie stars.
Sure.
And something that this podcast brought up was a 2018 interview with Anthony Mackie. And the interview was Anthony Mackie, who plays Falcon in the MCU. Was basically, he was kind of talking about fame and
currently Captain America.
Correct. He was talking about fame and all the things that have come with him being part of the MCU.
Yeah.
And in that discussion, he made the statement that there are no more movie stars. That Anthony Mackie, he's talking in the third person, Anthony Mackie is not a movie star. The Falcon is a movie star.
Right.
So it got me thinking about that idea of movie stars. Do they exist anymore? Do people go to films to watch a movie star?
Yeah, in the old term ways of where that was the case. You do go to watch the new Humphrey Bogart movie or Greta Gables or Clark Gable, not Greta Gable, or Betty Davis. You do go to see Clark Gable. You do go to see Marilyn Monroe. Like, you were going to see the movies because those individuals were in it.
Right.
Because we didn't yet really have the, I guess, the IP, more or less, of like, I'm not going to see the Harry Potter movie,
Right.
you know, or the Star Wars movie. I'm going to see this performer.
Right.
You know? And we've definitely moved from that.
Yeah.
Rapidly so in the last decade or so.
I like that you bring up Harry Potter because it's something I haven't even thought about. Like, Daniel Radcliffe has become a star, but when I say like movie star, I mean like people who are like larger than life.
Sure.
Where like I don't feel like Daniel Radcliffe is a star. Like, sure, he's a celebrity.
Yes.
But I don't think he's a movie star. I don't think even Emma
Watson.
Thank you. I don't even think Emma Watson is a movie star. I think Hermione Granger
Yes.
is the movie star. Harry Potter is the movie star.
Like, and what's her other big role?
Beauty and the Beast?
Belle.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's Belle.
Correct.
You know, it wasn't Emma Watson doing this role.
Right.
She was Belle.
Right.
You know?
And she's been in a lot of other things. I would say like she's probably been in more things than Daniel Radcliffe, who's probably the other, you know, current big actor from that. I mean,
well, that were introduced.
correct. Yeah, yeah. Like
Aside from like the huge actors that were in the movie.
correct to begin
Already
with.
known people.
Exactly. Like I know Tom Felton's been in a couple of things, but like in terms of that introduction, they're kind of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not those people are movie stars. It's
Right.
those people played characters that are the star.
Yeah.
Which got me thinking about like, is it the franchise kind of perspective that has created that?
Oh yeah, I think so, definitely. But I think it's also too just like that concept of IP. Nowadays, there's so much riding on the success of a movie. Of they're putting so many millions of dollars into these movies. They almost go into it needing to know that it's gonna be a big hit. So they do rely on that. And like, if you think about it nowadays, of like the importance of, all right, coming up soon, we're gonna have a big movie, and there's a lot of rumors who's gonna be in this movie. Fantastic Four.
Yeah, lot of rumors.
And that's the big news right now. Who are you getting to play Reed Richards?
Right.
You know, we don't ever have conversations about, man, what's going to be the next so-and-so movie?
Right.
You know, what is the next thing that person's going to do? We don't speculate over that.
Nope.
You know, but we do speculate on who are they going to get to play, who's going to be the next Superman. You know, like that's what we contemplate, and that's what we fan cast.
Right.
And it's like these big, huge roles, but that's 90% of the blockbuster, the cinema experience nowadays is usually things that we've already seen or we already have an understanding for. So I think there's certainly a lot of validity to that concept that no, there are no longer movie stars. People go to see characters, and it's just whether or not you work as that character.
Right. And like I'm thinking of the Chris's. Chris Hemsworth, Chris
Pine,
Chris Evans, like all of those guys, Chris Pratt, all of those guys, superhero or Star Trek or whatever, you're not going to see them. You're going to see the characters that they portray.
Right.
I mean, let's be fair. You could get any hunky dude to play Thor.
Right.
Like he looks, you know, vaguely like the guy, and it's going to work.
Yeah.
But I think what MCU specifically has done, and maybe brilliantly in terms of that money-making machine, is because they've created this multiverse, it doesn't matter. Now it doesn't matter, you know, what individual I get. I could get, again, a 700-pound dude to play Thor, and it could possibly work because it's in this kind of larger realm. For
sure. But like they also had already proven that was the case when Spider-Man showed up in Civil War.
Right.
Like that proved it right there. We didn't need Tom Holland. I mean, we didn't need Tobey Maguire.
Correct.
And we didn't need
Andrew Garfield.
We didn't need Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. We didn't need those guys to show up. We just needed Spider-Man to show up.
Correct.
You know?
Right.
That was by far the biggest piece of evidence, along with, in recent years anyway, anytime any of these big name, especially superhero actors, have tried to show they're coming to see me.
Right.
They're not necessarily coming to see this character. I'll prove it.
It's not worked out.
I don't think it has yet.
No.
I don't think there's been an instance where like, yeah, that person goes off and has a huge mega blockbuster.
Not really.
It's usually like even like Robert Downey
Sure.
coming off of Endgame
And going to
Dr.
Dr. Dolittle and just tanking.
yeah.
But then like again, not that Robert Downey, I think Robert Downey Jr. of that ilk is probably the most movie star, but it's because he had a career prior to all of this.
Sure.
But even then, like his career was kind of in shambles, and it was, Iron Man that revived it. But like,
But all right, so what's been his greatest success post MCU?
Oppenheimer?
Did you go see Oppenheimer because Robert Downey was
Absolutely not.
in it? You know?
And that's the point I was actually going to get to. So
Sorry.
No. I think we are of the same mind. That's exactly it.
Right.
I didn't go see Oppenheimer even because of Cillian Murphy. I like Cillian Murphy. I like him as an actor, but I didn't go see Oppenheimer because of Cillian Murphy.
Sure.
I love that Cillian Murphy was Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I would have gone to see that because, it's a Christopher Nolan movie. Like I like that kind of film too.
Yeah.
And he works.
Yeah.
But I didn't go see Oppenheimer because of Robert Downey Jr. In fact, like that character was, he was great, but he was also forgettable because it's not about that guy.
Well, and I said it, I think, to you coming out of it, of like, I think that movie, that was like maybe perhaps one negative for me was that Robert Downey kind of took me out of it.
Sure.
Because he was playing Robert Downey. Like it's hard for him to play other than him.
Yeah.
Because his presence is so definitive.
Correct.
That it's really hard for me to forget that I'm not watching Robert Downey.
Right. Yeah.
He is so recognizable, but is he recognizable? Or am I like, oh, it's Tony?
Sure, exactly. And I think like it might have actually been an interview with Cillian Murphy that he said something like the role of an actor is that you do not see me.
Right.
You see the person that I'm portraying.
Right.
I know that I've seen several things with like Daniel Day-Lewis, who said very similar to that. Like if you see Daniel Day-Lewis, I've done something wrong. And I actually want to circle back to that because I think that particular actor and actors like him might hold a little bit of a key. But I think what you said is that it's IP, it's intellectual property. Intellectual property is now the star.
Yeah.
Because, of the last decade or so, the movies that have made the biggest splash, definitely the biggest dollar amount, they've all been IP in some form of another.
Right. Yeah, and that's always the big question is who you're going to get to play that character because that character is important and you have to get it right.
Right. Even to the point of like finding nobodies to play those characters because like that is the version of character.
Right.
And then that person is a celebrity. I think there's a difference between celebrity and movie star, but that person now becomes a celebrity.
1,000%.
But they're not a movie
Celebrity
star.
means that you're recognizable. That I recognize you. It has nothing to do with talent.
Right.
It has nothing to do with whether
we're
you're a great
perfect
actor
examples.
or not.
Like we are talentless and we walk into places and people recognize us.
Yeah.
So celebrities, but we are not stars.
Yeah, not by any means. But it is that question. Like you could probably put it on one hand. How many actors will you go see the movie?
Right.
Regardless if you know what it's about, just because that actor is in it.
Well,
the actress.
I think that speaks to like the kind of the dip in movie going. Even pre-pandemic, like people were not really going to the movies.
Yeah.
They were going to see movies, but they weren't going to the movies. If that makes sense.
Right.
They would see these like tent pole kind of things, but they weren't like, let's go see the new George Clooney movie. Not that Clooney's been in a movie lately, but like, let's go see the new George Clooney movie.
Yeah.
So, which takes me to, I mentioned Daniel Day-Lewis, and it takes me to movie stars like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's a movie star. I feel like Tom Cruise is still a movie star, but weirdly don't think like Leo DiCaprio is a movie star. He's of that same ilk, but I think he's a little bit less than. And here's my argument real quick, is that when you start to have access to these people via social media, via all of these interviews, you get the person behind the mask. It actually starts to strip away that kind of mystique surrounding that individual.
Right.
Because like I just like did a quick run through of like Tom Cruise's social media, and it's mainly
Doesn't
like
exist.
I mean, it does exist, but it's mainly like
it's like promotional.
Yeah, it's all promotional.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking again, Daniel Day-Lewis, like the dude was like famously pretty reclusive.
Right.
Like very rarely gave an interview, and like it was all about the craft. And I don't think that exists much anymore because these people, they're creating brands rather than trying to maybe seek stardom or be that like what we think of as movie star, something bigger, larger than life.
Right.
And not that like, I mean, Tom Cruise has done, some TikToks, he's done some things like that. He's done like funny little kind of clips, but it's always like, I don't get who Tom Cruise is.
Yeah, no, they're always very like, edited.
Right.
And they're very like curated.
Right.
But it's all primarily always to like free promotion.
Correct. And like I think the last thing of that nature that we got from Tom Cruise was him jumping on Oprah's couch. And like after that, it became like a,
I don't know if we want that.
right. And maybe that's
nobody likes that part of Tom Cruise.
Maybe that's a conscious choice. But like again, it's that okay, so you don't know a whole lot of the individual. It's all about the films that we're making.
Right.
So I think for me, I come up with like maybe a small handful.
Sure.
Are there movie stars anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a few that exist. Like off the top of my head, I immediately go Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, if he's decided on a role that he wants to do, I'll pretty much give that a shot.
Okay.
Denzel Washington's also been one that I've always, if it's available to watch on a streamer, I'm pretty much gonna watch that one at some point in time. That's probably like my two biggest ones in terms of the movie star. Like I think Jim Carrey was there.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you would go watch a Jim Carrey movie. Then doesn't really have to know what it's about. It's just that he's in it. You kind of know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Can I say though?
Yeah.
Like what of those three actors you just mentioned? And this is something that I find interesting with movie stars, like of those ilk. And I agree with you completely. They basically play the same iteration of character. And like this is something that I think about in terms of those old movie stars too. Like Humphrey Bogart, basically the same dude in every single movie. Cary Grant, same dude in every single movie.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, same woman in every single movie.
Yeah.
So I think like that, whether it's a positive or negative, that's also something of a movie star. And you see this like with people trying to explore their range. You mentioned Jim Carrey. When Jim Carrey started doing things that weren't funny, that's when his movie stardom starting to kind of go downhill. I'm thinking of what was that like semi-horror thriller movie he did?
Oh, 13?
Something.
31?
It was a number, I feel like, yeah.
28? Something like it. Yeah, but like also look at Robin Williams.
Sure.
Where the
Good
exact
point.
opposite.
Yeah.
Like when he started doing serious stuff, you're like, holy shit, you're not just a super funny dude.
Right.
You're also like a fucking great actor.
Very, very true.
I think Jim Carrey was getting there. I just don't think he ever had the right roles.
Right.
Kind of a thing. But yeah, I think they still exist, but I think it's like, I think we what we've got is what is going to be. Could somebody come up now, starting today, and work their way up to becoming the type of actor that I don't care what you're in, I want to go see that movie? No. But I think the new movie star is the director. Because I think
interesting.
Christopher Nolan is a movie star now.
Got it.
He's the star of the movie. I'll go see whatever you do, man.
Good point.
I think you're getting a lot of directors that are getting way more notoriety than the performances. So I think that's kind of where it's going.
I think what we lose out on as moviegoers, as people who like films, because of this, I think innovation suffers a little bit. Because I think we mentioned IP, we mentioned the same kind of franchises over and over again. This like constant mining of this IP. I think we lose out in innovation in that Hollywood as a whole is willing to push interesting storylines. It's definitely willing to rehash storylines and present them in maybe interesting ways, but like that one-off film of like, I mean, I'm thinking like Castaway. Like that's a one-off film and it's a great Tom Hanks movie. And like, I feel like movie star Tom Hanks, like people went and saw Castaway because Tom Hanks was in it. And like, I just don't feel
that's like my argument against, like, I totally agree with like the Denzel Washington. He's pretty much the same dude and everything. Jim Carrey for a long time was the same person, but Tom Hanks is a little different.
You think there's more nuance?
Like Forrest Gump and Castaway?
Sure.
Like Philadelphia? Like he's got range, you know, like his characters, sure. Like you can also think of like Big and like that early comedic stuff.
Was he in the Burbs? Was that what he was in?
Yeah, or the Money Pit. Those were all pretty similar, just like goofy Tom Hanks stuff. But like once he started like really showing like his range.
Yeah, the Terminal and like was it the Terminal?
Captain Phelps.
Yeah.
And
okay.
The one on the boat. Phillips. Was that Captain Phillips?
Phillips, yeah.
Well, but he also did the one. Wasn't he also the
plane one?
The plane that had to land in the.
What was that called?
Something.
Yeah.
Captain lands plane in river.
Yeah.
Off Manhattan.
Right.
Captain Phelps. I thought that was Phelps, and I'm thinking that the other one was something else.
Captain Phillips was the movie with the pirates.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, that's
I wanted to like.
No, I see.
I disagree with Tom Hanks. I think Tom Hanks can play. I think he is like a character actor,
right?
That became a movie star.
So maybe he might be one of the last true movie stars in that realm that's still making movies that people are going to go see just because he's in it.
Yeah.
But like again, I hate to keep circling back to Tom Cruise, but like I'm probably going to go see a Tom Cruise movie, but he's the same character.
Well, but it's like, what's the last Tom Cruise movie you went and
saw? Top Gun.
IP.
Sure. Good point.
Or Mission Impossible.
IP.
Yeah. Like, when's the last one that he did that was like just solely not because it was something we already know?
Days of Thunder.
Love it. Cold Trickle, baby. All day.
Risky
Rubbin's
business.
Racing.
Was that Tom Cruise? That was Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cocktail's great.
You gave me a look like,
love
what?
Cocktail. I was still finishing my quote, and then I had to like reinterpret what you said. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, and I just saw it the other day on HBO, Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh,
that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Good point.
Awful title, because the title makes no sense to the relevance of the movie. Oh no, Edge of Tomorrow is the correct title. They released it under the title Edge of Tomorrow is the fake title. The real title, the novel that it was based off of, was Live, Die, Repeat, which is what it is, which makes sense to the story.
Yeah.
And they released it under this like random, ambiguous Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, because I think like Live, Die, Repeat was too edgy.
Didn't make sense.
Yeah, so now we got to go Edge of Tomorrow, which makes less sense.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Tom Holland's the other one that like I recently think about of like I think he thought people were going to see those movies for him, and then he splits off and does what should also be another big blockbuster. It's IP, and just didn't
do the thing.
Didn't connect.
But again, it's not to say like all of these people are not good actors, because like Tom Holland in the movie with Robert Pattinson, like the Southern Baptist preacher or something, like it's on Netflix. It's really good. I can't remember the name of it, but it's actually really good. Mm-hmm. But I'm not seeing that movie because of Tom Holland. I'm seeing it because like storyline, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of like the point of where it's at is like, to me, I think it's we put less emphasis now on the actor, because I think we also kind of understand, because of like Spider-Man, we don't necessarily care who's in the suit.
Sure.
We're really there to see the suit anyway, but it's the directors that are making more interesting movies that have gained the Spielberg type, achievements that we're like,
right.
Like that nullifies all of it. I don't have to know what this is about. I'll go see it because you're making it. And I think, honestly, I think that's kind of like a more interesting thing, that I'm not just necessarily going to see it because of the performance of this actor. I'm going to see the vision, the full vision from a director. And I think that's kind of a cool thing.
You mentioned Nolan earlier, 100%. Like I'm going to go see a Nolan movie regardless of who's in it.
Yeah.
Because I like Nolan movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's earned that over, a dozen or so movies close to it.
I like Tarantino movies. I'm going to go see a Tarantino movie. Like,
you never know what a Tarantino movie. I mean, you kind of know. Yeah. You kind of know.
You kind of do,
but yeah, it's not because it's IP.
Right.
Like he'll never do IP.
Yeah.
Like that. It's the style of movie. Tim Burton.
Right.
You've nailed a style and you've nailed a thing. You've earned a bit of a following.
Yep. And like you mentioned,
I think that's what movie stars. That's the same concept. I think it was all the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
I want to go see a Bogart movie because I know it's going to feel
Like a bogey movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that way.
You know what I want to know?
What's that?
I want to know what everyone else thinks about movie stars.
Everyone?
Yeah, everyone who's listening right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the people who are in the know, the people who listen to Drip and Stone, the people we care about.
Indeed.
Yeah, like, that's who I want to hear from. Who are your movie stars?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what makes a movie star?
Yeah, who did we miss? There's got to be obviously like some huge names
For sure.
that we didn't really just be able to come up with at the moment.
Exactly.
But I'm sure they're out there.
And I want to say thank you to Candy Corn Whiskey for sending us this bottle so we could sample for all of the Drip and Stone listeners.
Thank you to Dinner Distillery for sending us over the candy corn whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recommend everybody go try it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's great for what it is.
yeah, absolutely.
As a fun, like Halloween themed flavored whiskey, that'll fit the bill. I can't imagine, I don't know if I wanted to know what a jack-o'-lantern flavored whiskey would taste like, or, Candy corn is it though.
Yeah, there it is.
Nothing else says Halloween like candy corn.
So you can get in touch with us through email. It's dripandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drip and Stone, DREP and Stone. Come find us wherever you like to socialize your media.
Absolutely. And we'd love it if you support the podcast. You can do so through Patreon. That's patreon.com/dripandstone. You can also support the podcast by rating Drip and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one.
Just
and
the great
finally,
ones.
Kyle,
Sir.
you can support the podcast by telling someone about Drip and Stone.
Indeed. You're out trick-or-treating, sharing the goodwill of the candy corn.
Yeah.
And you've got little taster bottles of candy corn whiskey for the adults.
That's where my mind went.
And as you slide that candy corn into the adult's hand, hey, Drip and Stone did a whole podcast on this stuff.
Yeah, they talked about candy corn whiskey and movie stars.
Tom Cruise.
You're going to love it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Crims?
Crimson? Keanu Reeves.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay. Fair enough. Full glass cheers.
You want to finish that?